right, I'm ready. I'd like to call the Oakland County Board of Commissioners meeting for November 9th, 2017 to order. I'll ask the clerk to call the roll.
Commissioners Berman,
Here.
Bowman, Crawford,
Here.
Dwyer,
Here.
Fleming,
Here.
Gershenson, Gingell,
Here.
Hoffman,
Present.
Jackson, Kokendorfer,
Here.
Kowal, here, Long,
Here.
McGilvray,
Here.
Middleton, here, Quarles, Spiz,
Present.
Taub, here, Teets,
Here.
Whitebert,
Here.
Woodward, Zach. You have a quorum.
Thank you very much. So this morning our invocation will be given by the Honorable Dave Woodward. I'd ask Commissioner Woodward to come forward, and I'd ask you all to please stand for the invocation and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. Commissioner Woodward.
Thank you. Bow your head. Dear great Creator, as we gather here today to do the people's work, we ask that you give us the wisdom to look out for those less fortunate. We ask that you grant us compassion to care for those less fortunate. We grant that you give us the courage to fight for things that are right, to make our community stronger, to ensure that all men and women and children and seniors across this great land can rise up to their potential and live to their full potential. In your name, we ask this. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next on the agenda is the approval of the minutes for October 26, 2017. I'll take a motion by Long, supported by Zach. Any discussion on the minutes? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed nay. Minutes have been approved. Now on to the approval of the agenda, and for that I'll call on the Majority Caucus Chair, Commissioner Shelley Taub. Commissioner Taub.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have no additions or corrections to the agenda, so I would like to move the agenda as printed.
I'll take a motion from Taub, supported by McGilvray. Any discussion on the agenda? I just want to make one note. I'm going to take a point of personal privilege to move a presentation for the Fallen and Wounded Soldiers Fund up to the front of our communications section, as we have a gentleman that has another commitment this morning that's here, and so we'll give him a few minutes to talk to us up front. So I'll call on you when we're ready for you, sir. So with that, I'll call the clerk to take a roll call vote on the approval of the agenda.
Commissioners Bowman, Crawford,
Yes.
Dwyer,
Yes.
Fleming,
Yes.
Gershenson, Gingell,
Yes.
Hoffman, Jackson, Kokendorfer,
Yes.
Kowal,
Yes.
Long,
Yes.
McGilvray,
Yes.
Middleton, Quarles, Spiz,
Yes.
Taub,
Yes.
Teets,
Yes.
Whitebert,
Yes.
Woodward, Zach,
Yes.
Berman.
Yes.
Mr. Chair, you have 21 yeas, 0 nays.
The agenda has been approved, and that'll bring us to the communication portions of our agenda. So this is the period where we get to recognize really special individuals and organizations, people doing great things in Oakland County, and we have a number of them to come before us this morning. But before we start that, I want to break from the normal Board of Commissioners meeting in order to open up a public hearing for the Department of Economic Development, Community Affairs, Planning and Economic Development Services Division resolution approving the issuance of refunding bonds for Rochester College project, the City of Rochester Hills. Is there anyone here this morning to speak on that matter in public comment? And it's just for that particular matter. We'll have public comment for other items as a normal part of our meeting. Anyone here for this particular item? Seeing none, I'll close the public comment on that matter, and we'll return back to our normal Board of Commissioners meeting, and we will start with the presentation from the Fallen and Wounded Soldiers Fund. Mr. Chris Cornelius. Chris, if you could come forward, and Commissioner Kowal is here as well.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good morning, everybody.
I thought that with Veterans Day coming up Saturday, it would be appropriate to have Chris Cornelius with the Fallen and Wounded Soldiers Fund here to speak to us about all the great work that they do. He co-founded this fund in 2006, and they do wonderful things for servicemen that are having long waits to get services. They step in and help them out in the interim. It keeps growing, and they have a very, very high rate of what actually, it's all volunteer, and I believe it's over 90, if not 97% of what they get actually goes to the soldiers. With that being said, I will turn it over to Chris.
Thank you, Commissioner Kowal. Thank you, Chairman Gingell, for accommodating my time schedule today, and thank you all for allowing me to speak. One of the things, first of all, Oakland County, we're one of the few organizations that are lucky enough to be on the charity list for Oakland County, so we thank you all very much for that and your continued support. Oakland County has always been a friend of veterans. So a little about the fund. Again, the Fallen and Wounded Soldiers Fund, our mission is basically to support Michigan-based troops that have a training or service-related injury that prevents them from being employed. There's oftentimes a big gap from when you depart from the service to when the VA kicks in, and even when the VA kicks in, it's not always to the amount that it should be, given the injuries of the troops, especially earlier on, and items that are difficult to diagnose, like traumatic brain injury, neurological problems. These are very difficult issues, and they will stop you from the troops from working, period. So the Fallen and Wounded Soldiers Fund has been awarded one of the top-rated charities from great nonprofits. What that means is that the overwhelming number of people commented on us, rated us, and then the non-for-profit, top-rated not-for-profit organization gave us the top rating. So a little bit about Michigan service members, that Michigan has 127,000 troops activated to support the global war on terror. Some 30 to 50,000 troops will be returning in the next 3 to 5 years, and we're still deploying globally, right? This is not a problem that's going away overnight. So one of the items that we need to work on or where we step in, I should say, is that we have the 11th largest vet population in the country, but we're at the bottom 5 of what the VA spends on their veterans. So there have been 228 Michigan service members killed in action since 9/11. The average age is between 18 and 24, and so if you can imagine, you have vets that can't work sometimes, and even with their benefits at full rate, they're getting $1,500 a month to live on. So we step in and we really help out with the troops that are in need. And what I mean is they're getting evicted. Okay, they're not able to make their bills. Kids don't have diapers. Sorry, I get emotional with this stuff sometimes. So, you know, as a veteran, it hits home for me. These are my friends. These are your friends. So the greater is the need for the support. To date, so we're going on almost 14 years of keeping good on a promise to take care of the veterans. We've raised just about $7 million to date, and last year we raised $800,000, of which we distributed over $700,000 to over 350 troops. So our donation rate, our give rate, was what we call it, on all direct contributions to the organization, is over 97%. That 3% that we spend money on is for legal activities and mostly accounting to make sure that we are transparent and above board on everything. It's very important to us that we are good stewards of the funds. And that goes into the other areas of that we are all volunteer organization from top to bottom. Nobody on the board has ever received a dime for their work, and as a matter of fact, we pay for our own expenses. So again, you know, we help out the troops to where, at no fault of their own, they're put in a very difficult position of not being able to make ends meet. So we prevented evictions, foreclosures, vehicle repossessions, utility shutoffs, and even hunger. So to show that or to make sure that we're doing the right thing is we cut checks directly to landlords. We cut checks directly to the utility companies. We negotiate with the utility companies. We negotiate with the landlords. We work with other not-for-profits in the state of Michigan, Michigan Veteran Trust Fund. We work with closely. So when we can only cover a portion of it, we will work with other organizations. So we have our mission, right? And when folks have needs, troops have needs outside of our mission, we go and we work with other organizations to help get them the support that they need. And so this is 2015 distribution. So we helped out, we distributed $465,000 to over 253 vets, and we gave $20,000 to Michigan Military Families United, which is a Gold Star organization. Very proud to work with them. And I bring up this because this chart, 2015, I have a great chart here of where the money is spent. Housing, utilities, transportation, food. Basic necessities. So again, we partner with other organizations, and we pay funds directly to the landlords just to make sure that we're good custodians, stewards of the funds. And here's what's really great about that we're very proud of is that when a veteran calls up and says, hey, we need help, they get a call back in 24 to 48 hours. And if they meet the criteria and we find there's a need, they get a check within a week. Okay? And oftentimes these are proud veterans that, you know, we've stopped evictions. We've stopped the sheriff from coming out, and that's, again, we work directly with the landlords. So compared to some of the VA processes, it can be up to 6 months to several years before a veteran gets their full benefits. So I won't go into all these cases, but you know, check out our website. We have a lot of, and check out us on Fallen and Wounded Soldiers Fund. We have a lot of folks that we've helped out. Here's one case to where we're helping out with cars, food, gas, utilities to the tune of $9,400. And so you know, we keep the folks that we help out, we keep their information very private unless they want to share it. Here's another one, and I don't want to, I know I got a limited amount of time, so I don't want to go into reading everything here, but just helping out where we can. And this is Sergeant E. He was in an IED explosion, lost both his legs and his right arm. The help that he was getting was not enough, so we assisted with $9,600 to make his home a smart home and to help with handicap accessibility. There's a picture with his kids. So a couple things I should probably mention is that we do have another event coming up this year, MGM Grand, February 24th. We're looking at about 900 people showing up. So getting out the word always helps. We have, I think, probably about 50 events that are held for us through the year in the state of Michigan, throughout Michigan. So there's a lot of folks in the community that do a lot. And again, I want to thank you and the senator. Again, you guys have always helped us out whenever we've had problems with some veterans, even in the state level. So I want to thank you all for giving me the opportunity to talk. And if you have any questions, happy to answer them.
Well, thank you. This was amazing. Thank you, Commissioner Kowal, for giving us this opportunity to learn about what you're doing. I really commend you. It's very emotional and very important. I'd like you to give us your card so we can contact you if we would like to, and also maybe the report you can give to us electronically.
Sure. Can I don't have much information on me today, but I can send it on, yeah, not a problem. And also, as that goes, we work with the VA here in Michigan, so we kind of get all kinds of calls now, like even outside our mission, and we kind of funnel them through the different areas where we can assist. But you know, if there are troops that have a combat or training related injury that you hear of in your districts, let us know about them. And all they have to do is very simple. Get on a computer, fwsf.org, contact us. We'll be back in 24 to 48 hours. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you.
And we also have a number of proclamations this morning, so I'd like to first start with Commissioner Berman and Commissioner Taub. If you'd come up for your proclamation, please.
Sid, if I could have you join us up here, please. So it is my honor and privilege today to recognize Mayor Sid Rubin for an incredibly remarkable career in not only business, the nonprofit sector, but more importantly, his tenure in public service, and specifically public service here in Oakland County and in Keego Harbor, where I live and we served as members of City Council together. Sid has been a member of the Keego Harbor City Council for, we'll say, over a decade. He served as mayor multiple different terms. He currently serves as mayor. He did not run for re-election, so he is, in effect, retiring from Keego Harbor public service. And today, I think it's very important to say thank you, personally, and on behalf of Oakland County and Keego Harbor. Sid, like Brooks has been able to do here in Oakland County, Sid brought a business perspective to Keego, a community that's small, that has limited resources, was able to get Keego out of financial instability, create a balanced budget, a 3-year projected future budget. He was able to, do it all without raising taxes. Sid was instrumental in bringing Magnolia by the Lakes, a $50 million assisted and independent living facility to Keego Harbor, which just broke ground recently. And the list goes on and on. He's been able to put on incredible events through a nonprofit organization called Team Keego that is free in our community. We have a Christmas tree lighting ceremony. We have an Easter egg hunt. We have an incredible Memorial Day parade. We just have, really incredible services that we provide to our residents, and Sid's the catalyst of all of that. And again, I want to thank you, Sid. And personally, I just want to add one story real quickly, because we can either blame or thank Sid for me being here today. I moved into Keego Harbor, grew up in West Bloomfield, moved into Keego Harbor, built a house there about 12 years ago. Happened to run into Sid at one of the community events. He invited me to breakfast and told me that I was going to be on City Council someday. Initially started on the Board of Review, then the Planning Commission, and then somehow he got me to run against an incumbent. With his support, I won, and he supported me again in this most recent election, and it's the reason why I'm standing here today, so thank you, Sid.
Thank you, Tom. Thank you very much.
So, I know Shelley has a few words. She's known Sid for a long time, and I don't know, should we read the proclamation?
I'll just read the first and last. Yes, I've known Sid for quite a while, and I did represent Keego and Sylvan and Orchard Lake, first as a commissioner, then as a state rep, and then back again as a commissioner before we redistricted. So I want to thank Sid for his service. But more importantly, there's always a tag along. There's always somebody who's there doing a lot of the work once the ideas are written down on paper. So with your permission, Marilyn Rubin, will you please come forward as well? And by the way, if Marilyn stands in the middle of the street, in the middle of Orchard Lake, and collects money for all these things with a canister, so I think she deserves a round of applause.
So I just want to say one thing about Marilyn. She's been the best, quasi-grandma to my children, and she has never missed a city council meeting. It's unbelievable.
Okay, I will start. I'm just going to read a small portion of this. Whereas the wealth of a community can be measured by the hard work of dedicated people and dedicated public servants such as Mayor Sid Rubin, whose extraordinary service benefits local residents in the city of Keego Harbor. And now therefore, Michael J. Gingell of the Oakland County Board of Commissioners, together with Tom and myself, do hereby proclaim special commendation to Sid Rubin. We wish him all the best in his future endeavors. There's a whole bunch of stuff that Sid does in here. Among them, he's one of the very, very active members and a chair on our Community Mental Health Board. So for that, I think we need to give him more applause, Sid.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Gingell, commissioners, my friend Tom, my friend Shelley. Boy, I'm so glad that I was in an upright position when I was listening to all this. Unaccustomed to speaking as I am, for most of you, I'm going to try to keep this short. I'm glad that we didn't have to read all these whereases. I know you all have many important things to do today.
If you guys know Sid, we're lucky we don't have a 200 slide PowerPoint presentation.
I was wondering how long it would take, Commissioner, to have him bring that in. But anyway, Tom and Shelley, you've been a very good friend. There's a few people that I'd like to also thank and who have helped me in accomplishing some of the goals that I've had to do in Keego Harbor. First and foremost, the commissioners. They were very instrumental, and I'll be quite short, and I'll tell you how as we recognize people like our executive, L. Brooks Patterson, who was very instrumental, and Bob Dadow, who helped tremendously working with me and guiding me into some financial stability. And even Andy Meisner, our treasurer, who, a quick story, if I might, I promise it'll be quick. When I first took over, Keego Harbor was in debt, owed about, maybe about $4 million. Not a big amount for a small city, but nonetheless, we owed some bank debt. And I asked Andy right after he was elected, Andy, would you come with me to the bank and see what I can do about paying off the loan, but for getting them to forgive a $70,000 prepayment penalty? And Andy says, well, how am I going to do that? I was just elected and what have you. And I said, I don't know, maybe you should tell them that you got $700 million to park and you don't know where to park it. So to fast forward quickly, the bank did forgive the $70,000 prepayment penalty. And then I asked Andy, did you ever invest $700 million with him? And Andy said, Sid, this is government. This is not business. So with that, I thank him for helping, and Bob Dadow, and people like Lori Van Pelt, and several others, too numerous to name, even Commissioner Bob Hoffman, believe it or not, who guided me in some wisdom as I marched through. But anyway, there's a lot of people I can thank. And most people are wondering whether or not I'm going to retire. I've retired 4 times, and I flunked each time. I came out of the business world. I've had a very successful career in business, and it was time for me to give back. I can't thank you enough for appointing me to the Community Mental Health Board. There's another board, there's another organization that has a need, and as a result of my being associated with some people up in Grand Rapids, my plan is to try to bring some more development in mental health to Oakland County. So with that, I want to thank my babysitter for coming here, my wife of 55 years, and I want to thank you again for allowing me to talk as long as I did. Thank you again.
Next, I'll call on Commissioners Zach, Gershenson, Dwyer, and Jackson.
Yeah, it's like a grandma. You know? Yeah.
Sheila, you want to come up? Just quickly, before we get started, this is Sheila Clay, and she has been an Oakland County resident for many years and is the CEO of a very fine human service organization, NSO, and they have done unbelievable things on affordable housing, human services, and so forth within Wayne County. And this is an Oakland County resident who chairs this. And she had a very special award recently that we want to honor her for that award and all of the good work that she's done for numerous years. So thank you for coming. And I'll start. Whereas the true wealth of a community can be measured by the hard work and dedication of individuals such as Sheila Clay, whose extraordinary leadership accomplishments and compassion benefit us all. Whereas Clay, President and CEO of Neighborhood Service Organization, NSO, was recently honored by the College for Behavioral Health Leadership, which presented her the King Davis Award for leadership in promoting diversity and reducing disparities. The College for Behavioral Health Leadership specializes in enhancing leadership in the mental health and substance use prevention and treatment fields. Clay was presented with the award at the organization's annual summit in Denver. And
Thank you, Helene. Whereas, established in 2008, the King Davis Award recognizes leaders who have made significant contributions to promoting diversity or reducing disparities and that have made a direct impact on the quality of care for marginalized populations. Clay was selected for her remarkable work at NSO, a Detroit-based nonprofit that seeks to improve lives and communities in Southeast Michigan. The organization provides support and mental health treatment services for older adults, homeless adults, and individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities. NSO also provides psychiatric crisis intervention and stabilization, youth leadership, violence prevention, workforce development, supportive housing development, and training service to individuals and families. Wow.
Whereas Ms. Clay is a graduate of the Spelman College in Atlanta, Wayne State University in Detroit, Leadership Oakland, and Leadership America. She is a member of various boards, including Partners for Health, Michigan League for Public Policy, Opportunity Resource Fund, the Judith D. Jackson Scholarship Fund, and Leadership Women. Clay has received numerous honors throughout her career, including the Detroit Free Press Shining Light, Eleanor Jositis Unsung Hero Award, the Miriam C. Noland Award for Nonprofit Leadership, Michigan Chronicles Women of Excellence, and Who's Who in Black Detroit. Wow, impressive. And we join with Sheila's family and friends and colleagues to congratulate her on receiving the King Davis Award, an honor bestowed in recognition of the tremendous amount of time and effort she is dedicated to improving the lives of others. We thank her for her hard work, commitment, and countless contributions to the people and communities she serves. So on behalf of Commissioner Gingell, our chair, and Commissioner Dwyer, Jackson, and Zach, we'd like to commend you and thank you for coming.
I just wanted to add that I've known Sheila for probably 20 years or so when I was the police chief in Farmington Hills. Sheila was on the school board and just did an excellent job. So we appreciate it very much and congratulations.
Thank you.
This is a great honor. I was surprised but very appreciative when I got the the email asking me and telling me this was going to happen. I want to say that King Davis is someone who is still living. A lot of times awards are named after people after they've passed away. He is still living. He's retired. He was a renowned professor at the University of Texas in Austin and did remarkable work in mental health and really a lot of work and taught me about reducing and eliminating social determinants that are driving people not to be able to get out of poverty, for our playing field in our community not to be level when it comes to people who have illnesses and treating them differently. And so I've really dedicated a lot of my work, as you heard, the different populations that I work with, and also the work I did in the Farmington School District to really eliminate the barriers that won't make the level playing field for everybody, because regardless how we come into this world or what we are up against as we challenge this world, one thing we all have in common is that we're human beings. And by that alone, we have the right to be able to achieve everything that we want to achieve with the help of our brothers and our sisters and our neighbors to make sure that we can have the best life that all of us can have. And that's the goal that I have in trying to fight disparities in our community and promoting diversity and inclusion, so that people don't have to always ask you to help them. That we've created an environment in our community where they can navigate it because we've given them that dignity and that respect and accommodations so they can do it on their own. So I thank the commissioners who sponsored this for me, and also thank all of you all. I will continue to work hard to earn this honor. Thank you.
Yeah, I like her blazer. She looks nice. She's got a nice smile. Yeah, today. What is it? These chairs are terrible.
So I actually asked Commissioners Dwyer, Gershenson, and Jackson to remain up here for the next proclamation.
What do you
Coach Harrington, come forward, please.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. Yeah. Ah, it's been a long time. I don't blame you.
I think everybody recognizes the coach, Coach John Harrington, Harrison High School. Coach? Well, Coach, it's a real honor and pleasure.
Right here.
Okay. A real honor and pleasure to recognize you today. I've got to tell you a story. You know, I was in Farmington Hills as the police chief for a long time. I met the coach in 1985. But more important is that the coach started coaching when he was 21 years old at Harrison High School. Now, some of the kids that he coached, 17, 18-year-olds, they're in their 70s and retired.
My kids come back.
And the coach is going strong. Coach is going strong, right, Coach?
I hope so.
Yeah. But truly, we really appreciate it. I'm going to start by reading part of the proclamation. Okay. I'll be joined by the other commissioners and also Commissioner Spiz. Oh, Commissioner Spiz, before I read this, will you come forward? I think you recognize Commissioner Spiz, Coach.
So some may be wondering why I'm up here with these other three distinguished commissioners. Is I happened to graduate from Farmington Hills Harrison in 1988, back in the day. So I had the opportunity and the honor to know the coach. Unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to, I had a chance to play for him, but I chose to wrestle instead. But I did get an opportunity to coach young football players and prepare them to move up to Farmington Hills Harrison and play for the coach. And I wanted to thank you, and as soon as I saw the name on the list, I said I had to get up here and say a few words. For this great man has done a lot of great things for the community in Farmington Hills, has done a lot of great things for the kids that you have coached, you've touched them all, and you've put some great men out into society. So I thank you, and it's an honor for me to be up here with you to present this to you.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
I would just add, it's hundreds of kids that the coach has mentored into real men that have gone on to have very successful careers And that's probably even bigger than being the coach for that many years, as far as what you did for those young students, young men at the time, and where they're at today in life. So with that, let me just start with, whereas we are all indebted to special individuals who have gone above and beyond to have a positive and lasting impact on their communities and the people who live there, and whereas John Harrington is one such individual who's outside of his professional accomplishments as a retired social study teacher has devoted more than 55 years to coaching football and more than 45 years to coaching varsity football at Harrison High School in Farmington Hills, Michigan. And whereas between 1962 and 69, Coach Harrington served as the head junior varsity coach at North Farmington High School. He became the first head coach at Harrison High School in 1970. Pretty good. When the school first opened, and has remained the only head coach in the history of the school. Coach Harrington recently started his 48th year season with the Hawks. Over the years, he has proven himself as a dedicated and tireless leader to his coaches and players. He recently set the record, as we all know, for the most career wins statewide and led his team to a record-breaking 13 state championships. And
right here. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Did you coach Funches?
Of course.
Okay.
Made me a good coach.
Whereas Coach Harrington has received numerous accolades throughout his long and successful career. He was inducted into the Michigan High School Football Association Hall of Fame in 1986, the Michigan High School Coaches Association of Fame in 1997, the National Coaches Association Hall of Fame in 1998, and the Michigan Sports Hall of Fame in 2001, becoming only the third Michigan high school coach ever to be selected.
Whereas Coach Harrington is loved by his coaches, players, students, administration, and community. He has been a tremendously successful leader of student athletics and a great example to those who've had the privilege of knowing him. He is so admired that in September of 2017, Harrison High School renamed the athletic complex as Harrington Athletic Complex in his honor. We join with Coach Harrington's family, friends, and colleagues, as well as Harrison High School faculty, students, and alumni to recognize his remarkable career. We thank him for his decades of hard work and dedication and his countless contributions to the Farmington Hills community. And so on behalf of our Chair Michael Gingell, Mike Spiz, Janet Jackson, and Bill Dwyer, and the entire Board of Commissioners, we hereby do proclaim special commendation to Coach John Harrington, and we wish you continued success.
Thank you. Well, thank you. This is a great honor. I appreciate it. I came here, didn't think I'd know anybody, and there's Bill, and then Sheila, you know, who I've known forever, and then Mike Spiz, who was one of the greatest students ever at Harrison. I'm sure nobody's going to check on it, so that'll stand, okay? You know, all the accolades are nice for wins and everything, but like any coach will tell you, the joy of coaching is making these young boys into men, hopefully. Having them come back. His brother comes back every year and plays in something we call the leftover turkey bowl, and day after Thanksgiving, and he'll be there. And they all come back. We had 140 people come back, ex-players, when we went for the championship and the win record. That was awesome. I tell you, when you have kids like Drew Stanton, Devin Funches, Mill, the Thrill, Coleman, John Miller, and a few others, it makes you a pretty good coach, you know. So I'm not going to take credit for all those victories. But I will take credit for having a lot of fun. That's why I kept coaching 56 years. I'm going to coach again next year. We're in the state tournament right now. We'll be playing tomorrow night. If anybody wants to go watch us in Linden, it's going to be 27 degrees, so probably enjoy that. But it's been great, and I've had great assistant coaches, and it's just been fun. I stayed teaching for 53 years because I love that too. Taught driver ed, coached baseball, and I never could leave. And they say, why? Because I couldn't think of anything else I could possibly do. So anyway, thank you for this honor. It's great to be here.
Championship games, it's going to snow rain mix.
Okay, and for our next proclamation, it'll be Commissioner Quarles and Jackson.
Good morning. I know we've had a lot of proclamations, but this is very special. It's very special to me and to Commissioner Jackson. This is a part of Southfield history, which is a part of Oakland County history. I have the privilege of honoring the First Baptist Church of Detroit for its 190th anniversary. And I'd like to invite Pastor Thurman up. Been a while. And I'm just going to read a portion of the proclamation. Whereas the wealth of a community can be measured by its spiritual institutions like First Baptist Church of Detroit, which has enhanced the quality of life in the city of Southfield, Detroit, and Oakland County. And it was organized first in 1826. Whereas on October 1827, the First Baptist Church was given an official proclamation and charter. It began in the city of Detroit at 4th and Griswold. The church grew and its congregation grew, and as of World War II, the church moved into the city of Southfield in 1957, and that is actually a year before Southfield was chartered. And its membership continued to grow, and it continued to serve the community. Whereas many churches have emerged from First Baptist Church, including the historical Second Baptist Church, which is known for its years of helping slaves migrate to the North and to Canada. It spent a lot of time working with the Underground Railroad and its participant, and it helped other churches migrate and move and grow their spiritual congregation within the metropolitan area.
Whereas the mission of First Baptist Church of Detroit and its commitment to Whereas the mission of First Baptist Church of Detroit is commitment to vital worship, to loving God and neighbor, and to missions in the community and around the world. First Baptist is a member of the American Baptist Churches USA and supports the principles of a historic Baptist faith seeking modern relevance. The church is committed to a multicultural ministry and works with other non-Baptist churches and faith organizations. And whereas the congregation and faith community are supported and inspired by Reverend Theodore T. Turman, who, along with his distinguished, accomplished, and determined predecessors, has worked tirelessly to serve the church and the community.
And whereas on this occasion of their 190th anniversary, we join with the church leadership, congregation to celebrate First Baptist Church of Detroit, long and significant history in our community and in our county. Now, therefore, Michael Gengel, Chairman of the Oakland County Board of Commissioners, together with Commissioners Nancy Quarles and Janet Jackson, do hereby proclaim commendations to First Baptist Church of Detroit for their countless contributions and services to the Southfield and Oakland County community. We congratulate them on this very important and impressive milestone. Pastor.
Good morning, everyone. Again, my name is Theodore Turman. I have the privilege of serving as the pastor of First Baptist Church of Detroit. And as you can imagine, I haven't been there all 190 years. Sir Isaac Newton said, "If I can see further than you, it is because I stand on the shoulders of giants." As a congregation, we stand on the shoulders of pastors and lay leaders who have allowed us to continue to worship and be a benefit to the community for 190 years. We are thankful and acknowledge the fact that we are Oakland County. We are homeowners. We are business owners. We are employees. We are Harrison Hawks. We are active duty service members. We are veterans, and we do not take it lightly, the privilege of living in southeastern Michigan and to being a benefit to Oakland County. And so as we have been blessed, we seek to be a blessing as well. And so we thank you. We thank Commissioner Quarles and Commissioner Jackson and the entire commission, this entire body, for acknowledging this milestone in the life of our church as we continue to be a benefit to the world. Thank you so much. I'd like to invite some of the lay leaders of our church to join us for our picture.
I'll try to get through quickly. The first reads, "To thank you, whether it was the comfort of your presence or the touch of your hand or whispers of love or the remembrances from yesteryear, each has meant so much. Thank you, the family of K. Schmidt." The next one is from the City of Keego Harbor City Manager Linda Vull regarding the 2016 Local Road Improvement Matching Fund Project Report. It is with gratitude that I submit this report on behalf of the Keego Harbor City Council. The city resurfaced a portion of South Cass Lake Road, Willow Beach, and Portman Roads. We thank you for your continuing the program. I'm just reading parts of it so we can get through everything. The next one is also from the City of Keego Harbor City Manager Linda Vull in regards to the 2017 Local Road Improvement Matching Fund Project. And again, with gratitude submitting this report, the city resurfaced a portion of Willow Beach, Bulwer, and Park Circle roads. We thank the county for continuing the program in 2017, and we look forward to applying for funding next year. The next communication is from the City of Huntington Woods regarding the 2016 Local Road Improvement Fund Project Report. The city has recently completed the first part of our overbanding work that has been done on our recently reconstructed major and local roadway system. The monies allocated by Oakland County will be used to defray this cost. In 2017, the process to reduce water infiltration on these newer roadways will most likely extend the life of these surfaces by 4 to 6 years. Prior to the program by Oakland County, the city was unable to complete much of the project due to lack of funding. There is no doubt that the city will continue to face challenges as costs for materials, especially concrete, continue to rise. I would encourage the commissioners to continue their efforts on sending what monies that may be available to local governmental units, such as are to assist in leveling the economic playing field so that we can both fund new projects and maintain our roadways adequately. Again, that was from the City of Huntington Woods. The next one is from Farmington Hills, from their Economic Development Director. In regards to the 2016 Local Road Improvement Matching Fund Project Report, it is with gratitude that I submit this report on behalf of the City of Farmington Hills. The county's Local Road Improvement Matching Fund project assisted in funding the full depth concrete slab repair work on 9 Mile Road from Baywood Drive to Walsingham Drive. Over 2,800 square yards of concrete pavement was repaired. On behalf of the City of Farmington Hills, I would like to thank the Board of Commissioners for this grant. We hope that the county will continue this program, and Farmington Hills will gladly participate in the future if the program continues. And finally, from Troy, from the City Manager of Troy, regarding 2016 Local Road Improvement Project Program. Honorable Commissioners, I am pleased to provide you with a requested report in accordance with our November 10th, 2016 Cost Participation Agreement. The Souder Drive, Maple Road to Rankin Drive concrete slab replacement project was completed in the fall of 2016. The project removed and replaced badly deteriorated pavement and placed 2,100 square yards of new concrete pavement and repaired 5 drainage structures. We commend the board for creating and funding this program and look forward to a continued partnership with the board for many years to come. That is all the communications, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much. Without objection, we'll receive and file the communications, and we'll move on to the public comment portion of our meeting. We do have one individual that signed up today, so I'll ask that you'd come to the microphone in the back, and we have your name and address, but if you'd like to announce yourself. And then, as is customary, we ask that you contain your comments to 3 minutes. So we have a clock that'll help you. If it runs out, you'll hear a beep, and then I'll just ask you to conclude as quickly as possible.
Very familiar, thank you.
Okay, and if there's someone that would like to speak that didn't get a chance to sign up, I'll give you an opportunity after the gentleman here. So, sir?
This is Rick Gladstone speaking. Good morning to all my friends in Oakland County and Michigan and the United States. I'm sorry I have to talk fast, but there's a limited amount of time. You know, I've recently had 2 strokes with no deficits, been scammed out of $15,000 with no diabetes and a bankruptcy, but I have recovered and brought the business back. I didn't give up. I thought things were bad until I met a woman who recovered from cancer 3 times and a man who had no legs. I say this not looking for sympathy, but to let people know, and boys and girls know, that if you have forbearance to come back, you can, and that's one of the ways you know you have the right stuff. And while our bobblehead journalists talk about cement statues, they fail to mention the 40 million people who are still in slavery, many women and children. But who am I to speak? I have no office. I'm not a president, a county commissioner. What possible influence could I have? It is sad, even in the 21st century, after Hitler, Stalin, and Mao Zedong and others who were involved in Holocaust, the murder of several hundred million people, and our wonderful soldiers and veterans, that we still have murderous rampages, Holocaust, and ethnic cleansing, even in the world today, like Assad's killing of 300,000 in Syria as the world looked away, propped up by as a war criminal by Vladimir Putin, guilty of great debauchery of money, hegemony in the Middle East, and efforts at election fraud in all our major democracies. There is no place for Nazis, white supremacists, Ku Klux Klan, anarchists, black power advocates in our great democracies, but they have a right to protest nonviolently. And there are 4 options in Afghanistan. Now, I understand concerns about President Trump, but he is out of the city, and I do not criticize a sitting president when he's out of the country, excuse me. But he is correct that Washington is filled with partisan swamp, trampling efforts of change, and politicians guilty of malfeasance. And we must continue to work to deal with Iran and try and make the nuclear agreement work. No person should have to fear for his life losing his health insurance coverage. No person can live on $9 an hour and pay bills, and no country should have to fear missiles flying over their land at the pleasure of a jingoist who starves people like Lenin and threatens nuclear war in North Korea. It is important that we reduce regulations with fair taxes, but live up to climate change agreements and find a way to diffuse megavolcanoes that are apocalyptic events like Yellowstone. Religion was meant for faith and hope, not murder, and demagogues to incite the masses. ISIS has gotten theirs, and Assad thinks he is protected. Well, from the line of David to the present and my passing, the 21st and 22nd centuries must not be more of the same, and with future centuries as well, prove to be a paragon and personification of peace for all mankind, devoid of hunger, illness, war, and animal cruelty. And thank you for letting me speak.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone else here today that didn't get a chance to sign up that would like to speak in public comment? Seeing none, I'll close public comment and move now on to the other remaining items on our agenda, starting with reports of standing committees. I'll take a motion to approve the items on the consent agenda, moved by Fleming, supported by Bowman. Any discussion? Seeing none, I'll ask the clerk to call the roll.
On the consent agenda, Commissioners Crawford?
Yes.
Dwyer?
Yes.
Fleming.
Yes.
Gershenson. Gingell.
Yes.
Hoffman.
Yes.
Jackson. Kokendorfer.
Yes.
Kowal.
Yes.
Long.
Yes.
McGilvray.
Yes.
Middleton.
Yes.
Quarles. Spiz.
Yes.
Taub.
Yes.
Teets.
Yes.
Wypert.
Yes.
Woodward. Zach.
Yes.
Berman.
Yes.
Bowman. Mr. Chair, you have 21 yeas, 0 nays.
21 yeas, 0 nays. The items on the consent agenda have been adopted. We'll now move on to the regular agenda, and we have 2 committees to come before us today. So we'll start with the Finance Committee, and I'll call on the chairperson of that committee, Commissioner Tom Middleton. Commissioner Middleton.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have a resolution, Risk Management and Information Technology, Policy for the Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act of 1996, HIPAA, as amended by the High-Tech Act of the American Recovery and Reinvestment Act of 2009 and HIPAA Compliance Project. Mr. Chairman, I move the adoption of that resolution.
So with that, I'll take a motion from Middleton, supported by Wypert. Any discussion? Seeing none, I'll ask the clerk to call the roll.
On the resolution, Commissioners Dwyer.
Yes.
Fleming.
Yes.
Gershenson. Gingell.
Yes.
Hoffman.
Yes.
Jackson. Kokendorfer.
Yes.
Kowal.
Yes.
Long.
Yes.
McGilvray.
Yes.
Middleton.
Yes.
Quarles. Spiz.
Yes.
Taub.
Yes.
Teets.
Yes.
Wypert.
Yes.
Woodward.
Yes.
Zach.
Yes.
Berman.
Yes.
Bowman. Bowman. Crawford.
Yes.
Mr. Chair, you have 21 yeas, 0 nays.
21 yeas, 0 nays. The resolution's been adopted. Commissioner Middleton.
That concludes my report this morning. Thank you.
Next is our Public Services Committee, and for that, I'll call on our chairperson, Commissioner Bill Dwyer. Commissioner Dwyer.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have 2 items. The first is the Veterans Service Division, acceptance of donation, refer to Finance.
Without objection, refer to the Finance Committee. Commissioner Dwyer.
The second is miscellaneous resolution 17290, Circuit Court, approve creation of 1 additional Circuit Court judgeship effective January 1st, 2019. Move for adoption.
So on this particular item, we have a report first, I believe. So we will first accept the report from the Human Resources Committee. So with that, I'll take a motion by Hoffman, support by Wypert. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. The report's been accepted. Now on the resolution with the report attached, moved by Dwyer, supported by Wypert. Any discussion? Commissioner Woodward.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I know that there's been a number of us who spent a considerable amount of time evaluating and talking about this particular issue. I've got a few points here, but it all really does point to the fact that I cannot support the creation of this 20th judge in the Circuit Court for really 3 reasons. 1, we have the judicial capacity currently to meet the need that exists. 2, I firmly believe this is fiscally irresponsible, and I'll explain why in a second. And 3, that we have an acknowledged facility issue that we need to address, and frankly, this 20th judge just overly complicates those problems. So first, let me speak about the capacity issue. I don't think there's anyone in disagreement that there's a need for a 7th docket to get addressed. There's a lot of history, and I mean, I'll be honest, I'm a little frustrated that I didn't become fully aware that a docket of family division work of the Circuit Court that used to be handled in the probate court was taken out of the probate court and put in the family division and put on 6 additional judges. So this argument that the workload has increased is no question. You're absolutely right, because we took a 7th docket of work that was being done and put it over 6 individuals. The reality is that probate does have the capacity to do this. I have spent a considerable amount of time talking to leadership, talking to current leadership over there, and I mean, probate's willing to provide the support to help relieve that 7th docket. For whatever reason, unfortunately, I think the Circuit Court leadership has made a decision not to take advantage of that. That's all being said in the very fact that the Supreme Court, frankly, I mean, and I will say this, that is disappointed that we don't have these 2 courts sharing on this load, because it is a practice that is strongly encouraged all over the state. We all know that earlier this year, we approved money to help relieve stress on the family division by creating funding for the infrastructure to support for a visiting judge to address non-domestic PPO issues. These are time-consuming cases that are not directly tied to a divorce or a child neglect case, and to take some of the stress off. The way that, but the reality is that it hasn't, well, it addressed that issue, but when you still throw on the 7th docket on top of that, we're not seeing the relief that's necessary, which comes back to the issue, yes, no one's in questioning the need of the 7th docket. But the fact that we have existing capacity with our current judges to be able to meet this, it is the result of this and the way that this gets funded, when we talk about in a second, we're going to get rid of that tool, that visiting judge, and then those PPO cases are going to end up back into the general dockets of the existing family court judges. To complicate this further, I firmly believe that we're likely to remove a judge or two in the next couple years. So we're going to be going through this exercise only to have given based on caseload decrease, particularly in family and civil division, to actually create a judge only to decrease judgeships if all things point in the upcoming scale report. So the fact that we have capacity and we're not taking advantage of that, I think is foolhardy. Fiscal responsibility. This is going to cost money. Now we've talked about, and sadly when this was first proposed, I don't think those numbers were all prepared, but the circuit court is going to move money around, largely about getting rid of the visiting judges and the support of that enterprise to help pay the circuit court costs of this, the direct circuit court's ongoing cost of the new judge. But the prosecutor is going to need new staff to support this, and we don't have a full cost on that. The sheriff is going to need more staff. We don't have a full cost on that. And mark my words, and though that a lot of time has been spent on this, we are going to be having to address serious facility issues as a result of this issue. And I know that there is very strong feelings that we're not going to build a courtroom. I'm going to put money down right now to say that we're going to be revisiting that, and we don't have a full accounting of what all these total costs are. And then let me, I guess, lastly, coming back to the facility issues, and though through this process, I became aware for really the first time the seriousness of some of the facility structures, particularly as it relates to the lack of ADA compliance in the probate court. And while this in itself is a separate issue that definitely needs to be addressed, the creation of the 20th judge is going to compound this problem unnecessarily in the short term. Because the solution, as it currently, as I understand it, is that we're going to take a judge out of one room and place it in a courtroom that's actually being used to address probate needs. The ADA compliance issue in probate is going to be accelerated by having less space available to address those issues. The fact that, again, coming full circle, that we have the capacity to address this current need, we need a long-term solution to address the facility issues in the county. It seems irresponsible for us to do this. And I believe that, frankly, in conclusion, that, that this is a poorly thought out proposal. Every time we ask more questions, it yields more questions. Every time we get more information, it either results in more finger pointing, or we're going to see what happens in the future. If we approve this today, we are ineffectively going to be writing a blank check to be able to afford these strenuous, these costs that have been raised. Yep, we're going to put in requests for these things to happen. We don't know what they are. And for a county that really, we pride ourselves of being long-term in our view in addressing these issues, this is embarrassing. We are very much, we're going to be looking at, we don't have a full accounting of all the costs that are going to be necessary to do this. We don't have a resolution on the facility issues that are before us. We have other issues not directly related, but are only going to be compounded and made more severe as a result of this. On the fact that we have the resources available, the capacity available to address the need as it's presented today, and to go through all of this work unnecessarily to be told in a couple years now we're going to take a judge away from you. Seems ridiculous. And so for those reasons, I can't support this. I think that there are other things we can be doing about improving efficiency in the court. I want to applaud the court administration for looking at some of those things. I want to encourage them to do more, to be able to move cases and to hit Supreme Court guidelines faster. But this is foolhardy at this point, and I have struggled with it. I've spent an enormous amount of time on this. I know many others have looked at this as well. This is not the right time to do this. The right course of action, I believe, is to use our existing capacity. Let's look at all these problems, put them on the table. Let's develop a long-term plan to address them, and not literally playing catch-up at every term, only be brought back exactly to the same location in a couple years to have this all erased. Thank you.
Any other comments? Commissioner McGilvery.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Back when this came to planning and building, I voted against it then. The reason I voted against it at that point in time was that we had a resolution in front of us with absolutely no backup material whatsoever. What the cost might be, what things were involved with the whole situation. So I voted no on it. I've since then done some investigation. I've met with staff from the court, talked to a few people. I do believe that there's a real need for the judgeship, a new judgeship, because of caseload, but only because of caseload. I think that it can be handled so that we can reduce that caseload in the juvenile court. So we can do that by some other means, visiting judge, sharing courtrooms, whatever it might be. But I think it needs to be looked at that way as opposed to a massive increase to add an additional court.
Any other discussion? Seeing none, I'll ask the clerk to call the roll.
On the resolution, Commissioners Fleming?
Yes.
Gershenson?
No.
Gingell?
Yes.
Hoffman?
Yes.
Jackson? No. Kokendorfer?
Yes.
Kowal?
Yes.
Long?
Yes.
McGilvray?
No.
Middleton?
Yes.
Quarles? Spiz?
Yes.
Taub?
Yes.
Teets?
Yes.
Whitebert?
Yes.
Woodward?
No.
Zach? No.
Berman?
Yes.
Bowman?
No.
Crawford?
Yes.
Dwyer?
Yes.
Mr. Chair, you have 14 yeas, 7 nays.
14 yeas, 7 nays. The resolution's been adopted. Commissioner Dwyer.
Mr. Chairman, that concludes our report.
Thank you very much. So we'll go through the remaining items on our agenda. We have no reports of special committees, no special order of business, no unfinished business, but I know that we do have new and miscellaneous business. So for those commissioners that are looking to introduce a resolution, if you'd go to the back, I'll recognize you, starting with Commissioner Middleton.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have a resolution designating World Pancreatic Cancer Day in Oakland County, and I'm requesting a suspension of the rules to take that resolution up today.
So I'll take a motion from Middleton to suspend the rules, supported by Jackson. I'll ask the clerk to call the roll on the suspension of the rules.
On suspension of the rules, Commissioners Gershenson? Yes. Gingell?
Yes.
Hoffman?
Yes.
Jackson? Kokendorfer?
Yes.
Kowal? Yes. Long?
Yes.
McGilvray? Middleton?
Yes.
Quarles? Yes. Spiz?
Yes.
Taub?
Yes.
Teets?
Yes.
Whitebert?
Yes.
Woodward? Zach?
Yes.
Berman?
Yes.
Bowman? Crawford?
Yes.
Dwyer?
Yes.
Fleming?
Yes.
Mr. Chair, you have 21 yeas, 0 nays.
21 yeas, the rules are suspended. Commissioner Middleton.
Yes, thank you. This resolution is to designate November 16th, 2017 as World Pancreatic Cancer Day in Oakland County. If you read through the whereas, it's very sobering. It's a very deadly cancer, and early detection will really increases the survivability of it, and that's why we're presenting it today. Really?
So I'll take a motion by Middleton, supported by Jackson. Zach, any discussion? Commissioner Zach.
Well, I want to thank Commissioner Middleton for bringing this to us. Unfortunately, my mother-in-law died at age of 65 from pancreatic cancer, and it is a very devastating form of cancer. From diagnosis to death was basically 4 months. And so thank you. I'm glad that there's attention for people to screen and, follow it. Thank you.
Commissioner Kowal.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would also like to thank Commissioner Middleton. I lost my very dear mother-in-law to pancreatic cancer at the age of 72. She, I guess, was fortunate in a way that whatever type she had, she did survive for a couple of years beyond when she was diagnosed. But it is just a very devastating disease and a horrible diagnosis to get. So thank you for doing this.
Thank you, and I'd like to thank the board, everybody on the Board of Commissioners has signed on to this resolution, and I'd like to thank the board.
Any other discussion? Seeing none, I'll ask the clerk to call the roll on the resolution.
On the resolution, Commissioners Gingell?
Yes.
Hoffman?
Yes.
Jackson? Kokendorfer?
Yes.
Kowal? Long?
Yes.
McGilvray?
Yes.
Middleton? Quarles? Spiz?
Yes.
Taub? Teets?
Yes.
Weipert?
Yes.
Woodward? Zach?
Yes.
Berman?
Yes.
Bowman? Crawford?
Yes.
Dwyer?
Yes.
Fleming?
Yes.
Gershenson. Mr. Chair, you have 21 yeas, 0 nays.
21 yeas, 0 nays. The resolution's been adopted. Any other new or miscellaneous business to come before us this morning? Any announcements? Seeing none, I'll announce that we're adjourned to December 7th, 2017 at 9:30 a.m. at the call of the chair.